Good evening, everyone, and welcome along for the first time in FRL, certainly from an F1 perspective, to FRL in 2023 for FRL F1. It is round number 5 of the championship, of course, as we taken the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, otherwise known, of course, as the historic Imola circuit. My name is James Head. I'm going to be taking to the stream, of course, as always, on this fine Tuesday evening, and joining me in the commentary box, as always, it is Mr. FRL Yuri. Yuri, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very good, very good. I mean, Imola, uh, a fun track, of course, not a lot of overtaking zones, but it will probably be a good race, of course, a lot of chaos always here.
There is always a lot of chaos. I have certainly seen my fair share of chaos races around here, and I think it is going to be one of those nights where maybe quite a lot of stress and quite a lot of anger might be had out on track. Hopefully, though, it's kept within reason, and hopefully, we do see clean and competitive racing, though, out on track coming into tonight. Of course, we had a feature race and a sprint race, of course, at Silverstone last time out, and well, it has been a revival for Shazoo Jensen. He leads the way in the championship on 102 points. Matchell there in second on 76. He had an absolute wretched time at Silverstone. He'd be hoping to forget about that and then just focus on this race, of course, in Imola, which he did say was one of his strongest tracks. So hopefully he's going to be up there in terms of the racing tonight. Matey C in third on 47 points. Consistent third place finishes in China, Monaco, and indeed in the feature race last time out in Britain. So he's got good form coming into tonight as well. Keki there in fourth on 31. Rocco there in fifth on 27 after retirement, of course, in the feature race, an early retirement, I think it was, in the feature race. Charlie there in sixth on 22. Bunty in seventh on 21. Papine in eighth on 19, who was left for the second time this season. I think he'll be probably back next week. Tom there in ninth on 18. He's going to be up there, I'm sure, tonight. And Ivor there in 10th on 15 points as well. And looking through, obviously, the standings that we do have, of course, Yuri Jensen has been really dominant this season. He hasn't been out the first two in all races so far this season. Macho has got something to live up to, especially if he wants to put that form of Silverstone behind him.
Yeah, I mean, it was very close between Jensen and Macho going into Silverstone, of course, and then he just had that amazing race, and Macho really needs to catch up, and he has a lot of races to do it, but when Jensen is going to perform well and just score podiums every week or good results every week, it will be very difficult for Macho to get close to him.
Well, the thing is, though, Tom finished second in the feature race, and I mean, he qualified 17th in the sprint race, and that was probably one of the masterful drives I think I've seen in FRL in 15 seasons, 16 seasons now of doing FRL. That is probably Tom at his finest in that feature race at Silverstone. He's got very good form, but as you say, he's got a mountain to climb, quite literally, if he wants to try and challenge Jensen for the championship. I think he's got a chance of third, maybe, in the championship, looking at the standings, but Macho and Jensen look like the main two to try and beat. They might be the main two to try and beat here tonight as well, as both of them, I believe, are racing. We are waiting at the minute for drivers to join the lobby. They are finally getting in to the lobby. Not sure what the problem was with invites, but drivers are getting into the lobby, which means we can have a look as well at the constructor standings. And it's AlphaTauri out on top on 109 points. Mercedes in second, due to Macho being so good in that Mercedes. He's on 107 points, along with the Mercedes team, of course. Alpine there in third on 47. McLaren and Haas are tied for fourth on 33 points. Williams in sixth on 32. Red Bull seventh on 30. Ferrari in eighth on 29. Aston Martin in ninth on 23. And Alfa Romeo there in 10th on the nil point. Hopefully, going to be picking up full points, of course, with Daniel and Toyn both being in the cars here tonight. AlphaTauri, though, out on top only by 2 points, Yuri, and AlphaTauri did have a strong session along with Mercedes in Silverstone before the new year. How do you think this one is going to play out tonight between both teams?
Well, I mean, it's mostly Jensen, because Jensen scored 102 points out of the 109. So Zero right now in P15 with only 7 points. He really needs to step up his game, because Keke is now in the Mercedes, and we know from him that he is one of the fastest drivers here in FRL F1, and Macho, of course, also. So yeah, I think it's very hard for AlphaTauri to stay in P1 if Zero isn't going to score uh, any good points.
Yeah, and Zero, to be honest, but well, both teammates for both Mercedes and AlphaTauri, for both Jensen and Macho, have been rather inconsistent. Zero, especially, has been very inconsistent, I think, throughout. I would say the times that I've covered him in FRL, throughout his time in FRL, he has been quite inconsistent. Hopefully, and that might change tonight. I think he's going now 900 days without a race win and about 800 days probably without a podium. So Zero's got to try and up his game here, of course, in FRL. Try and be that real wingman that Jensen does deserve in the AlphaTauri team. Otherwise, I think Mercedes could take the championship lead coming into tonight as well as we go, of course, into the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix here in Imola. We've got 17 drivers currently in the lobby. I think we're just waiting on a little bit of a delay at this stage. But what we will do, though, is run you through the track map, of course. And it is a correct track map, because I thought I'd put Portugal in instead. 4.9 kilometres and then 3 mile circuit, of course. 19 turns, waiting on the drivers out on track. 1 DRS and 1 down the start finish straight in towards Tamburello chicane at turns 2, 3, and 4. And then, of course, plenty of overtaking zones. We were certainly speaking off air just before we came live. That, of course, I've seen overtakes around the outside of a Piratella corner at turn number 9. That could be an overtaking point. There could be an overtake as well, maybe down in towards Ravazza, the Variante outer section as well. That middle into the third sector pass really going to be good for opportunities for overtaking. But the main overtaking opportunity, Yuri, is going to be down into the Tamburello chicane at turn 2.
Yeah, I mean the only DRS zone, of course, going into turn 2, and it's it's of course a very narrow track. You can't overtake even into Tamburello. I think you have to be ahead of the Tamburello chicane, otherwise you may get pushed onto the curb and then you'll get spun round, and that's just hard racing then.
Yeah, I've seen plenty side by side going into Tamburello in various different leagues that I've done here in Imola, and honestly, every single time, one case or another, drivers decide to go side by side down into the Tamburello chicane, and then they go side by side through the Tamburello chicane. One of them's either on the curb, in the grass, and one of them's on the grass and in the wall. And that can end people's races quite literally. Hopefully, not going to be ending people's races, of course, here tonight. We've got 17 drivers currently within the lobby, and I will take you now live, of course, to the lobby instead of trying to get also waffling on about the standings once again. But obviously, Macho and Jensen both being here. We have a few new drivers as well. The likes of OP Dara, who finished fourth, of course, a little bit earlier on in the season on his debut. He's returning for the first time in 2023 to FRL. And Chips Monster as well as a driver you know, VR Daniel, brand new driver as well for FRL, and I think one Marco as well as a brand new driver, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly from my eyesight, he's a brand new driver. So you looking at those chances and looking at those new drivers, who do you think is going to try and start tonight in Imola?
Well, I mean, the only one I know uh, is Ships Monster, of course, because I commentate over him in another league, and I don't know. I mean, he's pretty fast in the Alfa Romeo there, and it's realistic. So I'm really looking forward to what he can do in this league, and if he can score some points for Red Bull.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Obviously, Chips is a brand new driver that I'm certainly going to familiarise myself with tonight as well. But obviously, I've been watching him in JSL. He's been doing quite well there as well. Yes, Jesse, I do watch the JSL streams in private, in the background, just so people aren't looking at me in the comment section whatsoever and thinking, oh, this wild commentator is right here watching my league, which nobody really knows about. Why is he actually subscribed to me and why is he actually watching my league? But still, anyways, back to Chips Monster. Yeah, he is a very good driver. He has got very good consistency about him as well. So hopefully he can transfer that JSR form into good racing here in FRL. Looks like we're now beginning to get going out on track, roughly around 5 past 7. So we're only about 5 minutes late in terms of the start time. And we are going to push you now, Yuri, or I'm going to push you, certainly for a top 3 coming into tonight. So who do you think is going to be out on top in qualifying first?
Well, I think that Tom is going to take pole in Imola. I just because of his Monaco lapping, of course, and he's just a very fast driver. So I think Tom will get pole, Jensen P2, and Macho P3.
Now I'm going to disagree with you on that. I think Jensen's going to take pole. I think looking at his form and looking at his qualifying hasn't really been the best this season, even though he has finished first 4 out of 5 times in the races he's competed in. He is going to be, I think, the man to beat here tonight. So I'm going to go Jensen for pole position. I'm going to go, dare I say, oh, well, maybe I'll change my prediction because it's absolutely teeming down out on track here in Imola. It looks like it's going to be a full wet session, so any prediction that I was just about to make is going to go out the window. I'm going to now push Tom for qualifying. I think he's going to go pole. He loves wet conditions. He absolutely is masterful around here in Imola. I've certainly seen him in wet conditions around here before. So I'm going to go Tom for pole, Jensen for second, and I'm going to go for... Oh, who do I go for third? I'm going to go for Keki for third.
Okay, a bit only P3 then difference, but yeah, I mean it's raining a lot, and I'm really looking forward to the race because if it's going to rain in the race, it will just be a wild one.
Oh, it will be a wild one. It will definitely be a wild one. Hopefully, though, Imola is throwing out its usual curveball of having rain here first in qualifying, and then it's going to be a dry race. Hopefully, we can get a bit of a weather report from the Discord while the drivers now filter out onto the track. And it looks like the Aston Martins are going to be the first two out on track. Charlie is going to trudge himself out of the pit lane first and be the first to try himself on these full wet compounded tyres. IoT and Gover's teammate is following them out in suit as well, and there's also, I think, is that a Red Bull possibly leaving the pit lane, or a Williams? One of the two. That, I think, might be Med-TC. Is it? No, it's Nick leaving the pit lane. It's Nick leaving the pit lane, and Charlie already has spun, coming through the Tamburello chicane at turn number 4, and he's in the wall.
Oh, and he also lost his front wing, so he will go directly into the pits now. And yeah, I just think it's very tricky, and it's maybe you need to find a limit, of course. And if I were in their position right now, I would have taken loads of fuel and just try to find a limit and just try to drive the most laps I can.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I'm looking at Indigo coming down through Piratella and towards Aqua Minerale now, and he doesn't look absolutely... He's put it this way, he's all over the shop, coming out through Piratella. And Indigo was going to try and get all of that nervousness out of his system. It is going to be a full wet condition qualifying, I believe. Stokey there in the chat saying, rip my race yesterday. I didn't see the race yesterday, actually, in F2 and F3. Hopefully nothing like the rain that we're having here in F1. Ivo saying good evening as well. Hoi to you, Ivo, and hoi to Charlie as well. Charlie also saying, now over 250 days without a win in FRL, so I'll join him soon. Yeah, I probably, he's going to look at that comment and think, yeah, I shouldn't really said that. And Indigo has nearly crashed into the pit lane. Goodness me, I've never seen that, and he's invalidated his lap as well for good measure. Indigo all over the shop, coming out through Ravata at turn number 19. How on earth he's kept that car going? How on earth he hasn't picked up any front wing damage is another thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, he was sliding all over the place in Sector 2 and 3, and he just lost it out of nowhere, and it's showing that it's really tricky conditions. Look at Nick, he's in the gravel.
Yeah, he is in the gravel. Luckily, he's still valid, though, coming through the Villeneuve chicane now. I'm just going to turn my telly up because I can't hear the game sound, which is normally good. Nick coming through the first sector split, 28.1 in the first sector. Normally, we see 20s, 21s through the first sector in the dry, so already around 7 or 8 seconds off the pace. Nick, though, on the run up the hill in towards Piratella at turn number 9. He'd be hoping to try and get just a valid lap time. I think on the board! Goodness me, George Russell-esque coming out through Piratella. It's so difficult on those curves. You touch the white line, you're going to end up spinning. And Nick just about recovers that, but his lap is completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for him because a banker around here and just that lap is very important. And now, I mean, he's still the first one to set a lap because he didn't invalidate it. So let's see what this will be.
I'm just going to go on board with Jensen. We'll see Nick's lap. Obviously, it's not going to be as quick. Jensen, I think, is looking like a safe pair of hands, potentially, in terms of the lap around here. Hopefully, we'll get somebody at least on the board. Coming out through Aqua Minerale is Jensen. And he's looking through the first sector. He's now coming through the middle sector split. We'll see what his time is going to be through there. To 57.6 in the middle sector from Jensen. So not looking too bad at all. Coming through Aqua Minerale. Nick's time on the board, 39.1. completely forget about that. I would say possibly take 10 seconds off that time compared to what Jensen is going to be setting. And already you can see Daniel 27 flat. And Jensen actually is not going to be as quick as Daniel here, I don't think. As he comes through Ravata, he's under pressure to try and deliver here. Jensen on the run towards the line is going to be quicker than Daniel, but not by much. It's only 0.5 of a second on the first lap. Jensen out on top, Daniel second, 0 there in third. But good performance from Jensen so far, and the championship leader currently out on top in qualifying.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Macho and Tom, and they are still in the pits. And Keki, a 28.6 isn't good. I think he made a mistake then. But Jensen, 4 tenths ahead of Watermelon now. He is looking to be one of the faster drivers right now in the qualifying.
Interesting as well, Yuri, that Keki and Rocco have set lap times on a set of intermediate compound of tyre. Now, I didn't see that on my screen until I've got on board with Rocco. He set an intermediate compound lap, and he's nearly ended up spinning coming through the Tamborilla chicane on his second run. Lewis Campbell, by the way, who I know very well from LOE, Mr. QVR Campbell himself there, speaking to Rocco, he's full of confidence having seen the rain forecast, and him being on that set of intermediates as Watermelon's gone third, Nick's now gone quickest. Obviously, we're going to get improvements as we go along. But Rocco there on a set of intermediate compound tyres. Intermediates at this stage are around 3 to 4 seconds off, so I think Rocco and Keki certainly are banking on this track beginning to dry out. It looks like the rain is beginning to stop as Rocco has a huge moment coming out of Piratella. How on earth he's hit the wall there on the exit coming through Piratella right at the last moment. But how on earth he recovered that, I do not know. But what I was going to say is he's on that set of intermediate companion tyres. He'll be hoping for the track to weather in, as I think Toyner's gone for a spin right in front of him.
Yeah, and as you said, I think it's who spun? Charlie?
Charlie had spun again, coming out through Aqua Minerale. He's lost his front wing again, has Charlie. So unfortunately for him, everyone being caught up by the conditions, including the Haas there. I think that was Bunty, who nearly had a moment coming through Aqua Minerale.
Yeah, they are really struggling. But looking at Rocco, and now Teun is also on a set of Inters. So I think it's going to be Inters. The pole lap will probably be Inters then, because it's looking very, yeah, it's not that wet as at the start of the qualifying.
Yeah, you're right on the money, I think, because I'm on board with Keki and he set a purple first sector. Now coming through back with Minerale up the hill in towards the Variante Alta section. Again, he's really having to wrestle with the car, but he's 8 tenths up and clearly improving his lap. He's going to go quickest as long as he keeps it within the white lines, and the track, as you say, is evolving. And I think, actually, looking at it, I think the rain has certainly lightened up. I thought it stopped for a second there, but the rain has certainly lightened up. Down in towards Ravata, and Keki's gone way too deep in towards Ravata. Just about keeps the car in a straight line. Coming now through the second part of Ravata at turn number 19, then in towards Variante Bassa, which is technically the final corner. Technically also turn number 1, and Keki goes quickest for the 26 flat, and you're just going to see this throughout the session. More improvements will come. The likes of Tom, by the way, still in the pit lane, along with Charlie, who's obviously crashed twice on his lap. Indigo, however, one of the new boys, has just done up on lap on a sort of full wets.
Yeah, that's really strange, because it is into weather as he is sliding again, and he will probably need to go into the pits because he won't get close to the time of Keki at all, because those wets are just overheating now.
Yeah, definitely so. And at 28.1 in the first sector, I mean, it's not too bad. I think Keki was 27 flat, though, through the first sector. So you can tell that the wets are beginning to overheat themselves. Torn has also decided to go on a set of intermediate compound tyres. Meti C has done the same, even though he's gone so far wide coming through Aqua Minerale. Just about gets the car in the back in a straight line again, and that is a Mercedes and Macho going alongside him, I think, in towards Variante Alta, and they're actually side by side coming through Variante Alta in qualifying. Never seen this before in my life. Macho, though, and Meti C have got to back off each other's laps, otherwise they'll be ending up cascading into each other.
Yeah, and I'm looking here now, I think, who was it? Pelly is also on wet, so people are still staying out on those wet tires.
He is indeed. Enzo, by the way, who I believe is part of the VIR team, if I'm not mistaken, has just joined the chat saying, James, is that you? Yes, it is indeed. It is me. Hopefully you're doing well, Enzo. And Daniel, of course, he is here to support. Currently there in fourth. He's on a set of intermediate compound tyres. He's coming in towards Piratella at this stage on his outlap. Watermelon, as you say, on a lap as well. And his first sector, 3/10 up, purple out of everyone in the first sector, 27.4. He will be aiming, I'm sure, to go ahead of Keki's 26.
Yeah, Watermelon is looking very strong on those inters, and of course, the time of Keki was set, I think, on the wet. So Nick, by the way, oh, he keeps it out of the wall, but that was very close for the Williams driver. But let's see what Watermelon can do then. Coming into Sector 3, let's see Sector 2, it's an 8/10 improvement in Sector 2, James.
Yeah, 57.4. He's a 10th down on Keki, though, coming through the middle sector. This final sector, Keki went so deep into Ravazza. All Watermelon's got to do is take an early braking point, get his pole rotated in nice deep, then rotate into Ravazza too, and that's where he's going to gain the time. And that's exactly what he's done through the first part of the Ravazza. Then through the second half of the Ravazza, looking very good. This is going to be provisional pole right now from Watermelon. On the run time, 25.8. Ooh, 25.7, not too bad from Watermelon, just a 10th off from my prediction at least. Watermelon though now quickest. Jensen is just preparing up for lap. Daniel as well, preparing up on a lap as well. He's actually coming to the first sector split. The VAR man just about has a Crow Brown moment, but a 26.9 in the first sector. Very quick from Daniel.
Yeah, it is, and I think we didn't even notice this, but Macho went to P2.
Macho did go to P2. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even spot that on my screen. There's so much happening, we can't really keep up. Watermelon's out on top. Macho in second, Keki in third. Jensen, by the way, his first sector is about to come up very soon indeed. We'll go on board with Daniel very shortly indeed as well. But Jensen's first sector in comparison, 27.2 from Jensen. Daniel, though, purple in the middle sector, and he goes way too deep into Lord Variante Alta, just about gets the car stopped in the middle of the white lines for the corner. And Daniel now on the run down, the German is shooting, going to be on course now for provisional pole. As Charlie now comes in, he said he hated with the wet qualifying, 25.5. He's now in provisional pole with 6 minutes to go in qualifying. As now Daniel comes out through the batter, I don't think that Charlie's going to be there for that long, because Daniel is going to wipe the floorboard clean with a 25 flat. A very good lap there from Daniel. Ivo now goes second with a 25.1, but we can't keep up.
Yeah, and I think, James, what I think is the track is drying up. Watermelon to the fastest right now, and I just think it's who the one who can set the last lap, Metro 24/7, is going to get the best track conditions.
Great lap by Macho. Just caught the end of that coming through Ravazza. That looked really assured, really clean. 24.7 now, the personal best out of everyone in the session so far. But yeah, as you say, there was still a lot of time, I think, still even to be found. And do you know what? I think the rain is now really beginning to stop out on track. In fact, I think the rain has stopped out on track. It has indeed. I can't see any raindrops coming down on my screen anyways when I'm board with Watermelon. Nick's now gone second, so I think the track is drying out. Is it going to dry out to an extent though, Yuri, where we could have dry qualifying towards the end of the race, as Nick has retired coming out of Tamburello?
Oh, and that's very unfortunate because he was looking very good. But yeah, on my screen it's still raining, but it isn't hitting the track, so it's
really light.
It's really, really light, and I don't think it will be enough to go to soft session. Daniel goes to a 24.5, fastest lap of the session.
Yeah, very good lap time from Daniel. Now ahead of the Dutchman and Macho there in second. Macho obviously done in terms of his lap at the moment. What are drivers going to do? Tom, still down at the bottom. Keki now goes quickest. The Finn, 24.4. Very good lap there from Keki. He now goes quicker than ahead of Daniel. These two haven't really seen eye to eye, Keki and Daniel, who nearly has a moment coming out of Villeneuve chicane. He's 4/10 down in his lap. He's not going to try and improve on this run. But it just comes to show the level of determination, the level of class driving, I think, that we are seeing so far in this qualifying session. Keki's out on top, Daniel second, Macho there in third. Championship leader Jensen, though, hasn't set a lap time on a set of inters. Surely is going to go quickest when he does. He's down in 11th at the minute, and his nearest championship contender, Macho, was in third.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen, I think He is on his out lap. He has to do a very good lap. But what I saw, I don't think. Yeah, is Pelly. Pelly, I think he backed off of his lap because he got held up by Shift Monster. With Shift Monster coming out of the pits.
Yeah, he didn't. Pelly's nearly ended up spinning coming out of Tosa there at turn number 7. Not to be confused, by the way, with something else that you might have in your very dirty and childish mind, which I know FRL is pretty much acclaimed for, to be honest. Tosa, or Tosser corner. There you are. Pelly in 15th. I've just called everyone a tosser, I think, on the stream, haven't I?
Oh.
We're getting cancelled completely. Keki out on top, Daniel second, Macho on third. Let's quickly move on and see who, as Keki goes quickest with a 23.7. Now that is a lap time that could well not be beaten in this latter part of this qualifying.
Yeah, it's a very good lap from Keki, but it's now depending on Daniel because he is coming into the pits and he really needs to move on because I don't think you will set a fastest lap with one outlap. You really need to get the temperatures into those tires.
Well, let's put that theory to work. I'm aboard with Jensen coming in toward the Villeneuve chicane at turns 5 and 6, and Jensen so far looking good as Indigo goes third quickest, 24.6. That theory that you might have is Jensen 26.7 in the first sector is not too bad whatsoever, but as you say, he might need 2, maybe even 3 laps potentially on this set of inters to get them fully warmed up in terms of the time. But Jensen, we know what he is all about. He's the championship leader, for goodness sake. He's absolutely wiped everyone so far in FRL F1. The rain is beginning to fall a little bit heavier at this part of the track, coming through Aqua Minerali as well. Certainly more raindrops beginning to come on my camera screen anyways, and Jensen fighting the car through Aqua Minerali in the middle sector, 56.2. Your theory might just well be wrong, my friend, because now Jensen is purple out of everyone who I've seen, certainly in the middle sector. So Jensen has looked absolutely assured with this lap. All he needs to do now is put it within the white lines coming through Ravacta, and then it could be provisional pole at this stage. 23.7 currently for Keki. This is going to be close for Jensen. Coming towards the line, the AlphaTauri man, the championship leader, is going to go second, I think, this lap. He does indeed. 24 flat. Very good lap time, though. But what was that? You needed a lap on a set of inters?
Yeah, I mean, he has done a very good lap, and now he is going to push for another one. And if he can get, I mean, he should have gotten those temperatures in those tires right now.
Parrot as well saying in the chat, Macho needs to stay in the championship right. Well, let me tell you, he is on a purple first sector, on a fresh set of inters as well. Really nice coming out of Piratella as well. And this is looking absolutely assured from the Dutchman so far. In towards Aqua Minerali, the hardest point on the track where you've really got to try and fight the car. Coming out the corner in the middle sector, 55.4. It's a bit down, I think, on Jensen in the middle sector, but it's quick. 1.2 seconds up. He's going to be going, actually, ahead of Keki at this point, even as it stands. So Macho is going well. Davos, by the way, joined the session at the end of qualifying as Zero was retired out on track as well. And there is another retirement out on track, and that's Zero actually coming out of Tamburello, I think. Macho, though, in towards the final couple of corners. The championship contender on the run to the line. Goes quick as the 22.9. Very good lap for Macho. I thought he was down, honestly, on Keki in that middle sector, but Macho was quickest out of everyone by a good chunk of time. 0.8 of a second between Macho and Keki. The Mercedes coming out on top. Lewis Campbell's theory, certainly with Rocco coming into play. He's just gone third as well. Jensen for another lap. Bunty, by the way, is 0.2 up through the first sector as well. This is a mad qualifying session.
This is unbelievable. The lap of Macho, I don't know how, and Bunty, he is almost gaining 1 second. And it's looking for 23.5.
Bunty's got to find those 0.6 of a second coming through the Ravacta, and that's going to be very difficult to find. Certainly if you're somebody like Bunty, you're going to be having to find every inch of territory, every inch of track to try and get this run. Is Bunty, though, going to go second between Macho and Keki? As Marco now goes second. Bunty now on the run to the line. He goes second, ahead of Marco by 0.3 of a second. Great lap from him. He has done in qualifying. Marco has done as well. Rocco 400's up 26.7 in the first sector. Jensen is coming through Aqua Minerali as well. And Rocco is 1200 up in the middle as Daniel now goes quickest. Jensen, though, 55-3 in the middle sector. This is a huge middle sector from the championship leader at this stage. The Brit now on the run down. The Shazoo man has got a bit of traffic in front of him. Gets out of the way, though, the Haas on the right-hand side. I think that was actually Daniel just down on his lap as Jensen now comes through in towards the final couple of corners of Ravata. He's got to put this now all on the line. Is he going to get my prediction right? Certainly. Tom goes third with only one run on that set of instances. Jensen, though, on the run to the line, doesn't do it. He goes third behind Macho. He had a mistake coming down in toward Ravata. Daniel out on top. Macho in second. Jensen in third. Pelly and Charlie, I don't think they're doing much. Charlie, however, is improving to the line, and he goes seventh. Good lap time from him. To say Pelly is not doing something, yeah, he's not improving on his lap. That is the end of qualifying. What a qualifying session. Daniel, the VIR man, on his debut in FRL, out on top. Macho in second, Jensen in third. Can we just relive that qualifying session for the next hour and a half, please?
I mean, Daniel, I don't know where that came from, but he just absolutely sent it, and he got pole position. And Jensen, I really thought he was going for a better time than Daniel's time, because it was looking very good into the middle sector, but he just couldn't quite get it, and is also behind Macho, so that's pretty unfortunate for him.
Yeah, but it's going to be pretty spicy between those two, don't you think? Down towards turn number one. I cannot wait. Daniel out on top, the German. One of the leading drivers in VIR. I said that before qualifying, and that is just came to absolute fruition. He's out on top. Macho in second, Jensen third. I believe as well Daniel did well around here in EML Premier, if I'm not mistaken, last season. So Daniel certainly got four. Macho there in second, though. Jensen championship leader in third. Tom there in fourth. Watermelon, by the way, same lap time as Tom. Really good qualifying from them both. Bunty in 6th, Charlie 7th, Marco in 8th, MedTC 9th, Rocco there in 10th, Ivo in 11th, Keki 12th, Indigo 13th, Torin in 14th, Nick in 15th. My voice is going, but I don't care. Zero, Chips Monster, Pelly top 18, and Dara, who joined late, didn't get a lap time in, and he's starting right down at the back of the field. Oh my goodness me, what a qualifying session. I just want to relive that again. Hopefully the drivers have some faith, because if I'm in the mood at this moment where I've got tears in my eyes, this could get quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the race now. The qualifying is over, and as a driver, I mean, after such a chaotic qualifying, you really need to calm your head down, because it's now only the race. The only focus you have that you got to have is on the race and not on the qualifying anymore.
Yeah, and this is where, of course, everything is now going to go to play. But that is a sight that I'd love to see. Beautiful blue skies and sunshine to start off here in Imola. Fantastic stuff. Now, I'm going to ask this question, Yuri. What about drivers who have put full wet setups on? Or have they put a mix of both? Or have they put a full dry setup on in that qualifying session? Because if anybody has put on a middle-of-the-road setup or indeed a full wet setup, they're going to struggle off the line here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anyone actually. I don't really see anyone going for a wet setup, because it's looking pretty dry right now, and it's not looking to change or anything, because I don't really see any clouds in the air. No, so yeah, a race setup is probably the best right now, and probably what everyone has chosen.
Yeah, I'd imagine a dry setup. I think is what everyone has chosen, certainly in the qualifying session, certainly with one eye that's looking towards the race, of course. Drivers that are on a set of medium compound tyres is quite interesting. Watermelon on a set of mediums is the only one in the top 10 on that set of medium compound tyres. Ivo, Indigo, Nick, and Dara, interestingly, on that set of medium compound tyres further down the field. Dara, of course, recently joining Outplay Racing, the big Italian outfit, I should say, who are one of the biggest teams, of course, on the PS platform. So Dara will be interesting from 19th, that's for sure. But everyone's on that medium compound tyres. What are we looking at in terms of strategy around here?
Yeah, I mean, probably medium hard, medium, one of those two. As Jensen is saying that they are racing in the morning. It's random time. Is that true? Did I?
Is it?
Oh.
I wouldn't know if it's morning or not.
Yeah, I mean, Jensen can probably see it, but Yeah, I think I forgot to change it because it's on.
Right, hang on. I'm going to check the settings here. Weather and time of day. It is... No, dynamic. Dynamic and
Yeah,
random, it says.
random. So I don't know if we have to restart. I think I forgot that. Well, I'm getting fired. No, no, no.
Honestly, with the weather conditions we've got and the potential for it to be a dry race, I think it's all fine in my eyes, personally. If it's dry, the drivers don't complain. If it's wet, the drivers complain and then they restart. Simple.
Yeah.
Who's your top three, by the way?
Oh, I'm going with Jensen for the win, Macho P2, and Daniel in P3.
Interesting. I'm going to go Tom because of that qualifying session. I'm going to go Tom for the win, Jensen for second, and yeah, I'm going to put Macho for third. It's a boring top three. Daniel, you are forever in my hopes, but hopefully we're going to get a really good race here in Imola. And I'm not sure, as I say, if we are going to get a first time start. It looks like we are having maybe an issue in one of the drivers joining into the lobby. Potentially, Dara joining qualifying might have caused it potentially. So I'm not sure. Looking at everything, it looks like actually no, we're getting going. 5 red lights now coming out here in Imola, and it is eventually, I hope, gonna be. I hope. We're still stuck on the grid. And now we're lights out and away we go. And Daniel gets a very good start. Macho alongside him, though, has got a really good start. And Jensen's going to try and thread the other needle as well. And Watermelon's going around the outside of 3 of them in towards the Tamburello chicane. Watermelon trying to take the race lead. He does. Watermelon through. He did it at Silverstone. Now he does it in Imola. And he takes the race lead right from the outset. Daniel there in second, Jensen in third, Tom in fourth. An absolute masterful start from Watermelon. He did it at Silverstone, and he's now took 3 drivers for the price of 1. Watermelon, that set of mediums coming into play. Keki and Charlie have had an incident further down the field. Pelly and Toyne getting caught up there into the Vienna chicane as well. But Watermelon, what a start. Daniel there in second, Jensen in third. That is the best league racing start I have seen in 10 years of league racing commentary. That was phenomenal.
I don't know how he did that from P5. He went off the line. He was already ahead of Tom and Macho, and then he just got so much straight line speed and sended it around the outside of turn 2, and he's now ahead, and that was just astonishing.
There was nearly 4 wide down in towards Tampa. That was 3 wide at places as well. And how on earth Watermelon? He was on the outside of everyone with a tyre in the grass. Got around the outside of them all, coming through turn number 1, in down towards Tamburello. Bang, bang, bang. 3 shots to the heart. He's into the lead of the race. Watermelon leads from Daniel in second. Jensen there in third. Marco right on the back of Macho, who I think has just lost position there. Marco to Macho. Macho down in fifth after that little bit of an incident coming to the Tamburello chicane where he lost a couple of places. Ivo there in 7th has had a very strong start. So was Indigo. Nick Dower is up as well. 8 positions, or 7 positions, as I say, off the start from the Irishman. Keki and Charlie, after that incident, are both into the pit lane, along with MedTC, who's also in the pit lane, must have picked up damage on the first lap. But Watermelon leads. Daniel in second, Jensen in third. I need to calm down. I'm on a right giddy streak at this point in commentary. Watermelon leads. Phenomenal start. 1.2 seconds clear of Daniel, and now he's got to try and gap, ideally, Daniel to 3 seconds. And I think, is that Keki that has spun coming out the pit lane?
I don't know. He was ghosted, so yeah, he could have had a bit of a moment there. But Watermelon, he is leading on those mediums, and that's what you call making use of the medium hard strategy. This is exactly what he had to do within maybe the first 5 laps, but he just does it at the start.
Yeah, definitely so. Tom on the back of Jensen, though. This is going to get quite interesting. I'm excited for this battle, even without Watermelon taking the lead of the race. Tom and Jensen catching Daniel very quickly actually down the straight in towards turn number 1 at Tamburello. The Watermelon leads the way, and he's got that element of control now about him in towards the Tamburello chicane. 1.5 seconds now the gap over Daniel. But as I say, I think he's got to get at least 3 seconds away. If he's under 3 seconds, he's going to struggle, and Daniel, Jensen and Tom are just going to have him in the second half of this, the second half of this first half of the race, if you know what I mean. in the basically from about lap 8, lap 9 onwards is what I'm trying to explain. Watermelon though leads, Daniel there in second, up the hill in towards Piratella with a lovely helicopter cam, I must say, in towards Piratella at turn number 9, and the side by side in towards Piratella for a moment there. Bunty and Nick were going side by side, and Nick actually on that set of mediums trying to get through on Bunty and trying to make up for the spin he had coming through that part of the track in qualifying.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, he really needs to gain some positions now, and he is doing a very good job. 4 positions gained, and Bunty, he lost 4 positions at the start, so those hards just didn't help him at all compared to Indigo and Ivo, who both started on mediums.
Well, Macho lost 3 positions as well off the start. Charlie and Keki's obviously lost the most. They've dropped down the field as a result of incidents. MedTC as well as a result of incident. And Chipsmonster, who I didn't actually see come in the pit lane, has also either spun out on track or he's had a moment, certainly somewhere out on track, which I didn't see. Indigo, though, on the back of Rocco, absolutely sails on by. Through Variante Bassa, down in towards Tamburello. Indigo gets the car stopped, and Indigo, oh my goodness me, he's just spun. I was going to make a bit of a joke at his expense there, but that is not on, because Indigo's just lost it on the curb, coming through Tamburello. Rocco got caught up in that. He spun himself, rather than getting caught up with Indigo in that instant. So Indigo and Rocco both round, and Indigo, unfortunately, hoping that he can get a couple of colours of the rainbow, especially yellow.
I mean, right now, it's not looking good for everyone that's maybe P14 and down. But look at Watermelon, only 1.6 seconds. He hasn't gained any time. He made a big moment there, and not all of the time. And Daniel, he can have the DRS if he can get on with it. I don't think he has it.
No. Oh, and Marco, I think Macho's just made a mistake coming out through Variante Alta, and Marco's through and he's into 5th. So the one racing driver now through and he's into 5th. He's going to be featuring potentially in the EML Premier tomorrow night as well. Macho certainly has dropped the pace, and now Ivo, as Darryl has crashed coming out the final corner, Ivo's going to try and make this move done, but however, the safety car decides to come out on track. So Indigo is saved by that colour yellow in the end. It is the safety car coming out on track. Watermelon out on top, Daniel second, Jensen third. And Yuri, that can only mean one thing for Watermelon. That is really bad news for him.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is probably, if the safety car came out 5 laps, maybe at lap 10, then it would have been good. But right now, Daniel and Jensen, Tom, they will all catch up with him, and the usage of the medium tires completely dead. Probably, yeah, I think the hards are already better than the medium tires, so it's not looking very good for the Ferrari driver. But Nick, by the way, I was on board with him, and I think he got Bunty right after the safety car, so, or before the safety car, so he got very lucky with that.
Yeah, that must have been, I think, down the straight potentially, because I know Macho and Marco were fighting, so I can only imagine that's either at the final corner or just before, or just pretty much on the start-finish line where Nick had overtook Bunty. So Bunty now down in 9th, Nick there in 8th. He's on that set of medium compound tyres, of course, out on track. Everyone now has got a choice to make, and I think the sparing choice will be for everyone to stay out, I think, at this point. Nobody is going to try and juke me into the pit lane, because the hards and the mediums can't go as long into the race as possible. They can't make 26 laps. It's really impossible. But if you're the likes of, Pelly further down the field, who's actually staying out, I would have, if I was in Pelly's shoes, would have went maybe to a set of soft compounder tyre, then went on to another set of mediums towards the end, and then he's used up that mandatory 2-stop. So Pelly could have used a bit of instinct there. Indigo, however, has used that instinct to go on a set of hards. Those are going to struggle 26 laps to the end.
Yeah, I don't think he will go to the end. I think it's going to be puncture rate for maybe 5 laps, 6 laps, 7 laps, and yeah, he probably he needs to go for another safety car now. Same for people like, I think, who was it? Oh no, actually, I don't think so. I'm fairly on Old Hearts, of course. So yeah, he's the only one that did it to Hearts, as he has to spin now and gets overtaken by MedTC.
I didn't even see what happened there. I was on board with him and I didn't even see what happened. Looking at Discord, too busy looking at other things, and Indigo has ended up nearly cascading into Rocco. I think there's also Was that an illegal overtake? I think that might have been. Yeah, I think it was an
Yeah.
illegal overtake. Indigo's 14th, Ruckle's still 15th. But Indigo, not sure what happened. I'm going back on the stream to have a look at this because I actually didn't see what happened. And I have a feeling he's got caught. Oh, he's got caught in the inside curve into the Villeneuve chicane. And it's just sent the car off camber. So Indigo, they're spinning around. And he better get out of, or be hoping that people get out of his way, like Kylie Minogue. There you go.
Uh, yeah, safety car. It really depends. Do you think, James, that Charlie can catch up to it? That the safety car is going to come in this lap?
Yeah, easy. I mean, the safety car has just gone past the start-finish line, so we are going to get another lap under the safety car, and Charlie is easily going to get... I think, actually, Charlie left the session. Yeah, he's in ghost mode. Charlie left the session earlier on. I know we put a comment in the chat as Keki's into the pit lane further down the field. Charlie said, I'm done. People going 3 wide in the worst corner possible. Watermelon, Daniel and Jensen managed it up the field, I may say, and they've all ended up clean as a whistle, and they're now first, second and third. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. They somehow did it. I don't know how. I'm going to watch that back when I'm done with this, because that's just amazing racing between the 3 of them.
Yeah, honestly, I'm going to clip that, by the way, on YouTube Shorts, and I am going to put that up on Twitter, on FRL YouTube as well, after this race is finished, because I want to relive, and I'm sure you guys at home want to relive that restart, because honestly, in 10 years, as I say, of league racing commentary, I've been around since F1 2012, on the good old days, where AOR used to be around, if you do know that league, but Watermelon start. He was good at Silverstone, but that was a very short run down in towards turn number 1. But he had this time, with the straight line speed and with the straight being so long, Yuri, Waterman had the audacity. He was on the outside line. He took, I think it was Macho he took first. Chips Monster has spun coming in towards Variante Alta. How's he done that?
He just lost it. I was on board. He just lost it. I don't know why, but this is actually pretty unfortunate for him. A safety car
Not in.
is out. And this is very unfortunate for Shishmonster, because Charlie is in AI mode, and I think you can overtake him, but you don't want to get a 5-second penalty this early on when there's still a chance for a late safety car.
Yeah, judging by his approach to this, he realises that Charlie's in AI ahead of him. Doesn't want anything to do with it, and he's just going to get him off the restart. And yeah, as you say, you can't actually overtake a ghost car. It is still in the game, unfortunately, where a ghost car's in front of you. I've seen it on occasions where a ghost car's been in the middle of the field, and even at the top end of the field at stages as well. And drivers have not been able to overtake as a result. So hopefully this is going to be something that Codemasters might look into for the F1 23 game. Yes, we are already talking about the F1 23 game, considering it is 2023. That is something I'd personally want to see in, the ghosting system being fixed. Or maybe a new option that just turns off completely, as Marco, I think, has just had a moment coming out of Tulsa corner, and he's just lost positions to Macho and Ivo.
Yeah, he had, I think, just a bit of a moment there, and now in P7, but what is happening with everyone behind the safety car? I think warming up the tires is very difficult around here, and it's showing, especially on those hard times.
Well, you have that application of the power. If you put the power on too early, and you've got to try and feather the throttle and feather the brake, and if you apply the throttle way too much, as the safety car is coming in this lap, if you apply the throttle way too much, like what Marco has done and what Chip Monster has done, both of them have ended up spinning. Both of them, luckily, still in this race, but they have lost positions as a result. So, take the Watermelon approach and back up the field. He's now the virtual Barlander, he's now the virtual safety car, and now he's about to go, maybe, for restart number 2. Not obviously from P4 this time around, but he's there in P1 and hoping for a really good start, of course, here. Coming down in towards Mavazza, going on to lap 9, already a quarter of the way through here in Imola, as Tom has ended up spinning right in the background, coming through Mavazza. That's what I mean about power application. Tom doesn't listen. Watermelon now coming out through Mavazza. is just about going to get the field back going again. He does indeed. Watermelon now in the lead, coming past the start-finish line. Onto lap 9 out of 32 we go, but Ivo has been caught, has been caught completely napping, and Marco all of a sudden is going to try and gain those 2 positions back right off the restart. Tries to go all the way around the outside into the Tamburello chicane. That was never going to work because Macho had the inside line, has to cut across the gravel, and Ivo just about gets that, but there is front wing damage for Nick, and Marco in the end is in the wall. Marco in the wall, and that Nick picked up right on end plate damage on the car. Luckily, I don't think that's going to be a safety car, given how soon it is after the safety cars just recently came into the pit lane. But Watermelon leads the way, Daniel in second, Jensen third, an absolute crazy restart. All marked, though, by Tom spinning down in toward Ravata.
Yeah, I mean, I saw what happened with Nick and Marco. Marco got pushed wide into turn 2 and then came back on the track and hit Nick. And Nick just, I think he has damage now. And they touched with each other and Marco ended up in the wall. So that's very unfortunate for the McLaren driver. And look at that, Nick is losing a lot of time compared to Zero. And Matty C is going to try and make a move down. And it's not working, but oh, Nick.
Yeah, too deep. He's got right on end plate damage on the car. That end plate is completely gone, and therefore he needs to come into the pit lane, and he is going to bail into the pit lane, which is good. And actually, Pelly, I think, made a mistake in behind. He's lost position as Tom breezes past Bunty down the straight through Variante Bassa in towards turn number 1. There was a bit of a wheel wiggle there from Tom. Cheeky from Tom as the Brit now through into 6th position. He's now behind Ivo. And already, Yuri, this advantage that Watermelon had, it was 1.5 seconds before the safety car came out. Daniel and Jensen are keeping up with them really without breaking sweat.
Yeah, and Watermelon, I mean, he's using a lot of ERS, but the same goes for Daniel. And Jensen is, I think, yeah, he has the best ERS management for now. And that's very important, of course. When Watermelon has to pit to those hard tires, Daniel is going to be in front without any DRS, and that's the moment where Jensen can attack him.
Yeah, Jensen there, 84% of EOS, now up to about 88 as he comes through Variante Alta. Rocco's just gone through Antonio, I think made a mistake coming through Aqua Minerale, so Rocco through and he's into 10th position. Doing a good job. Lewis Campbell, however, in the chat, not here anymore, so therefore he's not supporting Rocco quite clearly, and therefore he's not the lucky charm that he needs. Watermelon though leads the way. Daniel on the moment there coming through Ravata, just got caught the inside curb, gives Jensen a chance, but these guys I think are just going to run line astern down the straight. However though, Tom, a man on a mission, is right on the back of Ivo running down the straight toward Tamburello, and look at the closing speed that he's got in the Red Bull compared to the Ferrari. He's not going to go from that far back to the move, but Tom looking very, very keen now to try and get this move done on Ivo sooner rather than later. And I mean, look at Hayes coming through Tamburello. He might even get it done into the Villeneuve chicane. This is remarkable from Tom to the inside line, the Villeneuve chicane. Easy as you like. That is the difference between a class driver and a not so class driver. Unfortunately, from Ivo's perspective, I had to use him in that. But Tom through and he's into 5th. And that was absolutely picture perfect. There's a yellow flag, and I think Keki had spun coming out of Tamburello.
Yeah, it was a very good move by Tom, and he was already ahead. I think Ivo also thought I'm driving my own race. He knows Tom is, of course, one of the faster drivers, especially a top 5 driver with these guys. And Ivo, I think he's already pretty happy with P6, but he's also on those mediums, so he also needs to pit maybe 2-3 laps to go. And Tom, he is already in the DRS of Thatcher.
Is it a case with Ivo? I think he's gone too hard too early because he's lost the ERS now to Tom. Tom's got about 15% more than Ivo at this stage. There was a yellow flag in sector 2, and that is for Nick, who I think has spun on the other side of the track. Here comes Jensen though, on the back of Daniel. Daniel now with the ERS in operation, going to try and close in the Watermelon. Look at the closing speed that Daniel's got compared to Watermelon. He isn't even using up DRS. Pelly has had a collision with Chips Munster and picked up a 5-second penalty further down the field, which I didn't see happen as Chips Munster has retired, coming into... That's in the pit wall. Chips Munster has crashed into the pit wall. That doesn't seem right for me, personally. I didn't see what happened. There's a safety car being deployed out on track, though, and Chips Munster, I'm assuming, out of frustration, has crashed into the pit wall, and I know that is the pit wall because the pit entry is literally where he's crashed.
I don't know, James. Look at Pelly. He's changing. He lost his front wing. So I think there might have been some contact between them both. And Chips Monster as DNF. So I really want to see that on a clip from Pelly or Chips Monster to see what happened there, because I think it is Pelly and Chips Monster colliding with each other on the straight, or one of them wanted to go into the pits,
Ow.
and yeah.
I'm looking back at the replay and looking at it, I think Pelly has spun coming out through Ravazza. Chips Monster is there, wrong place, wrong time. Pelly's picked up the 5-second penalty as a result, because obviously he spun right in front of Chips Monster. And then in the end, Pelly is behind Chips Monster coming in the pit. So I wonder if, you might be right, I wonder if they've had secondary contact before the pit lane, and therefore Chips Monster is out the race. And if that is the case, then it's not really on, to be honest, if there is secondary contact. But what that has done, though, is bring everyone pretty much into the pit lane, apart from Rocco, who we now do trust. Rocco leads the way, Indigo in second, Watermelon, set a hard compounded tyres, and he's got Daniel, Jensen, Macho, and actually Keki's now ahead of Watermelon as well. So Keki's third, Watermelon fourth, Daniel in fifth. Daniel, Jensen, and Macho on a set of mediums compared to Watermelon, they're going to be right on the back of him at the safety car restart.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Watermelon is going to get any chance to defend against those guys, and I don't even think when those hards are going to be faster than those mediums, I don't even think he will catch up, because Jensen, Daniel, Macho, they looked equal at equal pace when Watermelon was on the mediums. They were on the hards, and now I am not so sure if Watermelon can keep up with their pace.
Yeah, definitely so. And obviously with Indigo and Rocco ahead as well, they're going to be backing up Keki right into the back of Watermelon, and therefore it brings Daniel Jensen, I think, further into play. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if these guys may be leading 2 or 3 laps into the safety car restart, which we will get, of course, in, I would say, about 2 laps' time. So probably lap 15 we'll get back going. Pelly, by the way, is still in this race. Not sure, as I say, what happened with Chips Monster in that. He is in Dutch, unfortunately. I'm not sure if you can maybe understand what he's potentially in the comment section on YouTube.
He's only saying, "What did you do?" So.
Ah, okay. He can't drive normal. There we go. That, I can certainly understand that. He can't drive normal. He is put there in the chat as well. As Keki is into the pit lane from a set of hards. Now, he was third, and he's came into to the pit lane. Set of mediums have gone on. Is he going to get ahead of Pelly? If not, he's going to be right down the back of the field. He's on the fresh tyres, but he could have potentially got those tyres to the end. So I don't really understand what he's just done there. Really strange. Really, really strange. Keki there 15, Pelly in 16. And Keki has got ahead of Pelly coming out the pit lane. So Keki there 15, Pelly in 16. And Keki there, as I say, medium compounded tyres. I don't know why he's giving up track position, to be honest, because Macho there is in 6th. He's in a wall of medium runners with Daniel and Jensen ahead of him. And Yuri, Keki, I cannot for the life of me think why he's done that, to be honest.
I agree with you. I don't know why, because he was in a very good position. I mean, P3, it's a good position, and now he's I have no idea why he did that.
Enzo, by the way, who is my little fly on the wall in the comment section there, saying for near all drivers on mediums there is a wearing of around 75 to 85% at the end, so there is potential for tyre blow-ups, i.e. punctures, right at the end of this race. And Keki on that set of hards, yes, he was on 7 laps, but he would have been on a hell of a lot fresher tyres compared to the medium runners at the end of the race. So Keki, I think, has missed a real opportunity. I might look back on this and think, if there's another safety car and Keki is in the lead by the end of the safety car, I'll probably take everything back I've just said. But Rocco now, virtual Burballander, he's now the virtual safety car, and he's now hoping that nobody, for the life of him, spins in behind him to cause a real knock-on effect in terms of the illegal overtakes. And we might get as Watermelon, I think, has just gone into the back of Indigo, in toward Ravazza. I think he's got away with it though, as Rocco now puts on the throttle, now flies, and Indigo has a huge moment coming out of Ravazza, now gives Watermelon the opportunity to try and attack him early down the straight. Nick has gone through and Charlie's AI, he's obviously dropping down the field, and Tom and Macho are now side by side as well, down in towards Tamburello. Tom looking to the inside line, Macho takes the middle of the road, and in the end Tom has to back off. That was not going to be on, certainly from Tom's perspective, but on fresher tyres compared to Macho, he absolutely outskates him, coming through Tamburello into the Villeneuve chicane, on the inside line, Macho just about closes the door on him. Tom tries to get the switch back out of the Villeneuve chicane, and now we're side by side once again in towards Tosa. Great restart. Daniel and Jensen have a bit of a coming together, and Tom switched back to the Sentry coming out of Tosa. Now for the inside line, he's got the front wing ahead, barely in towards Piratella. Great battle this between Tom and Macho, and Tom just about comes out on top. Brilliant racing between them both. The Shazoo man ahead of the NSX man, and Tom Thuney's into 6th. That was phenomenal.
That was an amazing move from Tom, and you said that you saw seen some moves around the outside there. Tom does it around the inside.
Oh!
The inside.
Indigo spun! Indigo spun out the 2nd position. Indigo spins, coming out of Variante Alta. Rocco now leads. I'm not sure if he got a tap maybe from Watermelon in the back. There were certainly yellow flags there in the middle sector. But I think Watermelon's got away with it. I think he has. Nick has spun as well, further down the field. But Jensen now, right on the back of Daniel. Daniel on the back of Watermelon. If Watermelon does have damage, this is perfect for Jensen and Daniel to capitalise. They're through, down in towards Tamburello, and Daniel Thuney's into 2nd, Jensen in 3rd, and Watermelon in the end. If there was contact, that has really hurt him.
Yeah, and also, of course, those hearts as he...
Yeah,
I think
he's got out the way he has. He's certainly got damage. He's just let Tom out the way. I'm not sure if it's just for pace reasons that he has let him through. He's letting Macho through as well. But if Watermelon has got damage, if anywhere, I think it might be left side end plate.
Yeah, I think it is left side end plate damage, but he's not letting Bunty through. So for now, it's looking better for Macho and Tom without any pressure from behind. And I don't think, does he have front wing damage?
Who, Watermelon?
Yeah.
It doesn't look visible, but if he has, I would assume it'd be left side end plate. And if it is, I think it might be very light damage that he's got. I mean, Bunty, on a fresh set of mediums, he wouldn't be catching up that quick, I think, even with the traction coming out of Variante Alta. So, yeah, Watermelon, I'm not sure if he has got damage. If he does, it's right, and he can carry on. If not, he might decide to bail in the pits. But it doesn't look like he does, which is good. And now Bunty's right on the back of him. And now Jensen, more importantly, going for Daniel for 2nd. Now to the inside line. This is actually for the net race lead, albeit. And Jensen now takes the net race lead off Daniel. Outskates him into the Tamburello chicane. Gets the job done. And the German now is going to sit him waiting behind as Indigo is retired into the pit lane.
Yeah, and this is very important for Jensen. And Rocco, he is going to be under pressure of everyone behind him on those set of mediums.
Yeah, definitely. So Indigo, by the way, yeah, not a great debut from him in FRL F1, or a great return from him, certainly. He's down at the back end of the field, the 4th retirement out of the race. Chips Monster, by the way, saying in the comment section as well, regarding that incident with Pelly, apparently Pelly spun in front of him coming into the pit lane, and Chips Monster ended up wrong place, wrong time. Pretty similar to what Pelly spun in front of coming out the final corner as well. So that might be what he's on about, as Rocco now is under pressure from Jensen. And when you get Jensen, the Shazoo man, right on the back of you, you run scared. But Rocco is normally not a man that is scared of Jensen. He's going to put up a really good fight. But what this is doing though, Yuri, is bringing Daniel, Tom and Macho completely into play. And we could have, hopefully, 3 wide in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, let's hear Jensen. He is going to get moved on Rocco. That's easy, but let's look at Daniel. Let's look at Tom. Can they get past Rocco? They have to. And no. It's very close.
Yeah, Daniel was really close to the back of Rocco. He just didn't. I think Rocco actually decided to park the bus, is what I would like to describe it as. He basically moved in the braking zone, is what I'm going to say. But Daniel now doesn't care. Doesn't care who Rocco is. To the inside line, coming through Tulsa. Rocco, though, to be fair on the traction, gets the move. And Tom now, all of a sudden, is up the inside and towards Piratella. His favourite overtaking spot here. Down in towards turn number 9. Just about backs out though, and Daniel stays ahead. Tom there in 4th. And if Tom was any half an inch closer to Daniel, they would have easily made contact there.
Yeah, and Jensen now 1.7 seconds ahead. he can think about tire management right now, and that's of course very important on those mediums. As I don't know what happened there.
Tom had a slight tap with Daniel, and Daniel now is on the back foot from Rocco. That's what happened there into Variante Alta. Tom in fourth. Just really, it was so close. Rocco was going a little bit slow in front. He backed Daniel up into the back of Tom. Tom, in the end, had nowhere to go. Basically, not brake checked into the braking point, but certainly misjudged it. And now it's coming at Daniel, and now certainly coming at Rocco. 3 wide in towards Tamburello. Tom around the outside, trying to get them both in towards Tamburello. Daniel stays second. Tom there in third. He's got one. Can he get the other on this lap, though? This is a phenomenal race. Jensen leads the way. Daniel in second, Tom in third, Rocco in fourth. For the majority of it, his match just needed cascades into the back end there of Rocco, and he's going to look to the inside line in towards Tosa, and does have a second opportunity of getting the move done. Didn't want to risk it, and now Bunty all of a sudden. PSGL F6 promotion. Bunty there in sixth, doing a good job, and he's right on the back of these guys.
Looking at the gap between Daniel and Jensen, that's an enormous gap to what it was before the save start. And to be honest, I don't really think that Daniel can catch up to Jensen now. He really needs to show some good pace to get anywhere close to him.
If Daniel wants the race win, he's going to let Tom through, I think. Tom has got the pace compared to Jensen, rather than Daniel. Daniel is now out of that DRS. Jensen has been, though, absolutely extending through his ERS, and he's really trying to burn that off, as now Tom is just going to absolutely breeze past Daniel down the straight through Variante Bassa at turn number 1. Easy as you like. Tom now through and he's into second, and Rocco's now going to get overtaken by Macho. So Macho there through and he's into fourth. Ivo going side by side. Keki, in fact, is going side by side with his fellow Finn of Zero in towards turn number 2 at Tamburello. Just about keeps it within the white lines and just about gets that move done. So Keki through and he's into he's on 6 lap of mediums. He's in 10th position. Zero 11. You can understand what I'm getting confused over my words there. But Jensen leads. Tom in second. Daniel in third. And if Tom has got the pace to Jensen, this has now got to be Tom at his absolute world-class best if he wants to catch him.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in Monaco. He drove probably his best race. I don't know if he ever raced it in FRL, but it's certainly his best race this season so far. And he really needs to show that pace. He has 13 laps, 12 laps to do it. Let's just see. I mean, the ERS is lower than Jensen. Jensen on 25, he is on 5%, so 20% more ERS than Tom. That's quite a lot.
Position change further down the field as well. Metty sees Bill Mortimer made a mistake coming out of our to Altas. Metty sees now through, and he's into 7th, and he's got Bunty right in front of him. Azero has gone for a spin coming out of Variante, coming out of Ravata as well. Now we're going to get 3 wide down the straight. Keki on the back of Ivo, now going for Watermelon as well. There goes Ivo on the back mirrors, and Keki now looks to Watermelon. Doesn't get the job done. Keki though through, cascading his way through the field. He's putting on a very nice performance and a good recovery drive as well. He's there in 9th. Ivo, to be fair, is fighting back at him in towards Villeneuve. Doesn't get the job done though. Keki in 9th, Ivo there in 10th. Still, Jensen 2.9 seconds. But what I was going to bring up, Yuri, is Jensen could easily wait up for Tom. Now, they're both in the same esports team, obviously, both in Team Shazoo. And Jensen and Tom obviously have got that friendship between them. Are we going to see a similar situation as Silverstone, where Jensen just backed off a little bit, Tom back into the ERS, and then they had that fight on that final lap?
Well, I mean, it would make the race a lot more interesting for the lead and for the win, of course. But, I mean, he is 3 seconds ahead, and that's quite the gap to back off. I mean, Daniel is 6 tenths behind Tom, and I don't think if Daniel doesn't get the DRS in maybe the next few laps, I don't think he will stay with Tom.
Yeah, definitely not. Keki, though, is not going to absolutely... well, he just sailed past Watermelon even before the start-finish line. Keki through, and he's into 8th position. Metzi C now through, and he's into 6th position, just ahead as well, in towards Tamburello. Keki there up to 8th. And Keki, to be honest, is showing very similar scenes to what we saw with Keke Rosberg back in the day, of course, in real-life Formula 1. Keke, of course, looking to try and provide a good result here tonight in the Mercedes, doing a good job. He's there in 8th position. There's a yellow flag, and that is for Nick further down the field, who was spun once again. But Jensen leads the way. Tom in second, and Tom has got literally 2.9 seconds with no reply at this stage.
Yeah, and I don't. It's not looking good for Tom against Jensen, but Daniel, he has saved some ERS. He has 15% more ERS than Tom, and he really needs that. Of course, he can save a lot of ERS now, staying within Tom's DRS.
Yeah, definitely so. And Jensen, obviously, because it's an individual championship, he's got to think about himself, I think, at this stage, rather than anyone else. And Tom, he might be a friend behind. He doesn't care about friends at this stage, I don't think. Jensen leads, lap 23. He's out there in front. If he makes one mistake, though, and then Tom is all of a sudden a second and a half in behind, that could lead Jensen to bring Tom, Daniel, Macho into a four-way fight for the race lead. Keke now through on Rocco down the straight, and Keke, to be fair, he is absolutely flying through this field. He's got very good pace as the NLR man at this stage. He's there in 7th, the Finn, fighting his way pretty much from a spin at the end of lap 1. Obviously got caught up in that incident with Pelly as well. And Keke, there in 7th, doing a good job. And he is the man to watch out for in the second half of this race because he's on the fresher tyres.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we haven't really talked about it after, of course, the comment. What is going to happen with that puncture rate? Because we don't see, as I think Teun has spun there in the background. But when are the punctures coming for the medium runners?
Yeah, it's interesting. Toyn has lost his front wing, by the way, coming through Piratella, so that's why he has spun coming through that part of the track. Basically, where George Russell spun in the race in 2020, I'd dare say, or 2021. One of the two, anyway. So George Russell spun. He was in the Williams back then, so you can probably understand which year it is. Jensen are leading the way. Tom in second, Daniel in third. And yeah, back to your point. Tater's saying there in the comment section as well, we're going to see a puncture tonight. I think we will. I don't know who from, possibly Rocco, because he's on 19 lap of medium competitised and still going out on the track at this stage. We could see a puncture from him. Toyn has decided to retire into the pit lane as well, so it's disappointing there for him down there in what will be 15th position once Charlie and Nick go past him, of course. But yeah, we could have punctures potentially. These guys toward the top end of the field, I wouldn't be too concerned about them in terms of their tyre management, because these are the best in FRL. The likes of Bunty, however, the likes of Keke, I think they would be worried, personally, because Bunty and Keke normally go quite aggressive in terms of their driving style. And Keke, he's been making moves through the field. He's having to use up a lot of ground on those tyres and a lot of wear on those tyres as well. So if I was anyone, I would say Keke. Even though he's making up the ground now, he's the one that's going to be in trouble at the end.
Yeah, and looking at the laps, I mean, they still have 8 laps to go, so those tires of Keke at the end will be around 18 laps, so that's quite a lot. But Rocco on 19 laps all mediums, he doesn't have a puncture yet, but he is struggling quite a lot, and I think he has a puncture. I don't know, but he's coming.
No, he doesn't. No? He's back in the pits. I think he made a mistake potentially coming out of Ravazza, and that is why he is in. He's certainly got no front wing damage, at least, and he's got onto another set of medium compounder tyres to the end of the race, which I don't really get because he could have gone for a set of softs. Unless he's going to go fastest lap, of course.
I mean, he has to try something, and he really needs to hope for a safety car, of course, otherwise he won't score any points besides going to the softs and try to set a faster lap at the last lap. But for now, Jensen leading, Tom second, Daniel third, and there's not a lot, there isn't anything really happening right now in the field. The two Ferraris are very close to each other.
Yeah, the two Ferraris are indeed very close to each other. Watermelon and Ivo, 8th and 9th position, fighting out on track. Nothing really happening toward the front end of the field either at this stage. Zook saying as well, didn't George spin before Aqua Minerale in 2020? Yes, it was coming out of Piratella where he'd spun. That was referencing that point. Very similar mistake to what happened, I think it was with Toyn before he retired into the pit lane. Very similar in terms of their crashes. Basically, you get caught on the outside curb, you get flung one way, you try and recover the car the other way, and then you end up spinning like what George Russell did in real life in 2020, as Zook has pointed out there in the chat. As Rocco picks up a 3-second penalty for over pushing it on that set of medium compound size as well. Jensen, though, leading the way by 2.8 seconds. Tom has got no response at this stage. However, though, he is beginning to gain back a bit of that ERS, which is going to be good for him in the last 7 laps of this race because Daniel and Macho are much lower than him at this stage in the race. So Tom is having to feather the throttle, basically lift and coast going into the corners. That's what's gaining him back the ERS, and he's got around a 10% advantage compared to Daniel and Macho on behind. So if Tom doesn't know that, and he's got the stream in the background, now he does.
Yeah, and of course that's very important, but look at Daniel. It's very close. He's almost outside the second, and I think he is. He doesn't have the DRS.
He's gapped him, I think. Yeah, it might be right. The DRS detection point is just before Rabatza, and yeah, Daniel is out of DRS range, and that means Macho, for the second time in this race, in about as many laps actually, Macho can gain in terms of the ERS usage, and look at him on the battery trying to use that up. However, MedTC and Bunty, are we going to see a move down towards turn number 2 at Tamburello? No, MedTC's just decided to back off as I got on board with him down in towards Tamburello. Doesn't get the move done, but Daniel has spun, coming out through Tamburello, out of P3, so Daniel now is absolutely... you have to feel sorry for him. He's gone into the wall again, and that's him out of the race, and that could be a safety car. That was not on purpose. It is a safety car. Not on purpose at all. Just trying to recover the car. Daniel has ended up spinning into the wall, and I thought his spin was bad. That's even worse.
Yeah, I mean, that's very unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he just lost it. I know. When you go on the grass, those tires are very warm. You try to go on the throttle and you just lose it. And now it looked like a comfortable podium or a top 4 at least. And now it's 0 points for him.
It is 0 points for him. Now, I'm really intrigued now as to what is going to happen. I am hoping everyone comes in for set us off compound tires. That's what I'm hoping. Jensen, is he in? Yes, he is. Jensen is into the pit lane. Tom, into the pit lane. It was a no-brainer, really, in terms of the strategy that I had to go on. With only, it'll be 4 laps to the end of the race when these guys get going. They have to come in. Set us off compound tires for everyone. Bunty in, MedTC in, Keki in, Watermelon in, Ivo also in, and he's going to have a double stack as well in the Ferrari garage. Zavo in, and Pelly, you would imagine, is in. You can ignore Charlie because he's an AI at this stage. But everyone now in a set of soft compound tires, I am now beginning to get on the edge of my seat once again, because all of a sudden, Tom is going to be level pace with Jensen, and that, even in its own right, is very exciting.
Yeah, it is, but one thing that really, I don't get why Ivo and Watermelon both pitted to softs, because they are in P7 and P8. I know those hards, they will be dead at the end of the race, but compared to the soft tires. But looking at Rocco, it will take a long time until he has catched up to the safety car. So, and I think Watermelon and Ivo, one of those two, if they stayed out, one of them, they would have let the safety car restart, and that's a big track position that they gained over everyone in front of them.
Yeah, I see your point, to be honest, but remember, they would have been on, 15, 16 lap old set of hard or set of medium compounded tyres I think they were on. So one of them had to try and split the strategy. I think it was actually better to go with the strategy that there are, because they haven't lost any positions. Zero came in the pit lane behind them. Charlie's AI, for goodness sake, is now on the points. So Charlie, you better get back in this lobby if you do want points at this stage down in 10th. But Pelly also came into the pit lane. So I think the Ferraris, yeah, I can understand your point in terms of one of them leading, but that just would have caused, I think, a lot more issues as compared to where they are right now. And I think Watermelon and Ivo, they can have their own fight with Keki, they can have their own fight with Zavo as well, and they should end up probably in the same positions that they're already in. I'd be very surprised if it changes.
Yeah, and looking, by the way, Keki, yes, that's 3-second time penalty, 0, yeah, but Nick, he is 20 seconds behind Rocco, and I don't think the safety car is coming in this lap. I think it will be on probably the end of lap 30.
It could be. Rocco's just came back in the pit lane, though. Rocco has just came back in the pits, and that means if the safety car doesn't come in this lap, we're getting 2 laps to the checkered flag, and that means old school fashion Formula 1 with no DRS in operation. Is Nick going to decide to come in the pits? No, Nick is going to go for track position, get ahead of Rocco, maybe look at the points as well with Charlie's AI and Pelly ahead of him. So Nick is ahead of Rocco coming out the pit lane. And now Rocco and Nick have got to do the catching up job. Rocco is 23 seconds behind the safety car coming out the pit lane, so I think the safety car is going to come in this lap, but you never know. It's Codemasters. They could maybe last it to the end of the race if they wanted to. Michael Massey-esque, maybe. But yeah, Jensen leads the way. Tom in second, Macho in third. The arguable front 3 in the championship, even though Tom is not there as the front 3 in the championship, the arguable front 3 of what might happen towards the end of the season, I am looking forward to the safety car restart. This could be quite entertaining.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I am going to get my popcorn ready because this is going to be hopefully the best safety car restart we have ever seen in FRL 1.
Safety car is coming in this lap, however, so that means Jensen, virtual Bert Marlander, virtual safety car. The pressure is now on him, the championship leader, to deliver from the front. He has had it his own way out in front. He's not going to get his own way off the safety car restart because Tom and Macho, both very quick in their own right, they're both going to be right there off the safety car restart. Matey C and Bunty can't be ruled out either. Keki with very good pace on the set of mediums earlier on. Can't be ruled out either, even with that 3-second penalty. But now, coming out of Ravata for the final time, we get back going underway with 3 laps of racing here in Imola, and Jensen has absolutely flown off the start. Tom, though, looks quicker down the straight, just visibly down the straight. He looks a little bit quicker. Matey C and Bunty were side by side, briefly running down in towards turn number 1. Pelly has got through on Charlie's AI car, which you can ignore further down the field. But a very clean restart by everyone, which is good. Jensen leads the way, Tom in second, and the front 2 have now left Macho for absolute dead in the first part of this start, because now Bunty, and now Matey C all of the back of Bunty as well. He's looking in towards Tosa at turn number 7, tries to get the job done, up the inside curve, and Bunty just about comes out on top for 4th. Matey C there in 5th, that's going to be a really good battle, but the front 2, Jensen and Tom, now beginning to assert their dominance on the field.
Yeah, they're already driving away. Macho, yeah, he's not keeping up. There is a spin, I think that's Nick in the back, yes. And Macho, there isn't any DRS, but Bunty, he is driving very good. And if he can get that pace out of nowhere, he can maybe try to make a move for Macho.
But he's got to look behind as well, because Medsi C's right on the back of him, and arguably Medsi C looks quicker out of everyone at this stage. Down in towards Ravata for this battle for P3, right on the rear wing there of Bunty, coming out of Ravata 1, now to Ravata 2, now he loses all that speed, and now all of a sudden, Keki's right on the back of him, and Keki will not take another opportunity if this is going to be the chance to try and get this job done. Keki on the inside on MTC, down in towards Tamburello we fly, in towards the penultimate lap of the race, and Keki's alongside him in towards Tamburello, tries to get the job done, tries to hang it on the inside, gets caught on the curb, and ends up behind him again. MTC there in 5th, Keki in 6th. Look at the pace though, the front 2. Jensen and Tom, 1.3 seconds ahead of Macho already. Macho's got some underlying issue, which I can't really understand why. It might just be his pace, it might be his tyres. He's on the same tyres as everyone else though. Jensen and Tom absolutely escaping up the road, and now it's a two-way fight for the race win.
Yeah, I mean, Tom and Jensen, and I don't know what is happening with them, but they've found some amazing pace compared to Macho, and Bunty is also losing a lot of pace to Macho. And Matty C and Keki, they are really trying to get past the Haas driver.
And Tom is trying to apply a lot of pressure, but Jensen, though, I think has got the calling card at this stage. Down in towards Ravata for the penultimate time. Jensen leads the way. Tom has now got to put his friend and his rival now completely under pressure, but that might just be enough because Jensen, no DRS for the last lap either, because the DRS zone doesn't come online until the lap after. So we've got no DRS for Tom to come back at Jensen, and that mistake down into Ravata might have just cost him. Keki, though, looks the outside on the MTC and gets the job done. Round the outside side through Tamburello. He's got Bunty in the side for potentially 4th as well, if he gets that 3-second penalty removed. But Keki there in 5th, Meti C in 6th. Jensen now has got hardly any pressure from Tom after that mistake. He's running low on fuel as well as Tom. In fact, Jensen is as well. Macho isn't. This could come into play as well. I've seen drivers run out of fuel before around here. This could come into play potentially with half a lap to go.
Yeah, that would be very unfortunate for them, because they are driving an amazing race, but maybe that's the reason why they are driving away from Macho. They have underfueled a lot, and it could be very unfortunate for them.
It could be coming through Variante Alta for the final time. It has been the Jensen show. Quite literally here in FRL, this has been Jensen at his finest. He's had to weather the storm though from this safety car restart. How to weather the storm though is coming out of the other side of it with a race win. Keki lunges it on Bunty into Ravasta in the background. The shot and gets the job done. He's into 4th, and Macho has ended up making a mistake. Jensen to the line wins. Tom there in 2nd. Macho there just barely hangs on for 3rd after a mistake. Keki's got sent completely up on the left-hand side. Jensen, though, takes the race win. Tom there in 2nd. I got completely surprised there. Keki lunged it on Bunty down into Ravata and got the job done for 4th.
Yeah, and that was a hectic race. And I think with Keki driving very aggressive on those laps, that he can remove that penalty.
I think he could. That 3-second penalty will put him 4th. I think he's ended up 7th in the end, if I'm not mistaken. So, if that is the case, and do you know what? Keki is worthy of a drive of the day, I think. His recovery from that one, where he was in the pit lane, right down the back end of the field, did a great job, skipping his way, though, to the top of the podium, is this man here. It is Shazoo Jensen, and Jensen there taking the win in what has been, honestly, one of my most favourable commentaries I think I've ever done on any F1 game. This really highlights the real platform that the PS guys have been put on, even in a small league like this. You've got Jensen, you've got Tom, you've got everyone that has put on an absolute show. Yes, there's been bits of contact up and down the field. It's racing at the end of the day. I am very, very proud of these guys tonight, and I'm especially proud of the man who's won in P1. It is Mr. Jensen, who takes the win from Tom there in 2nd, Macho there in 3rd. In the end, the top 2 are class above the rest off that safety car restart. Macho there in 3rd with Bunty in 4th, Metc in 5th, Watermelon 6th, Ivo in 7th. I'm going to need to lie down after this race. Keki in 8th, Zerial there in 9th, Rocker ran off the top 10, Pelly there in 11th. Charlie does get classified in the results, even though he's an AI, he's down there in 12th. Nick in 13th, and then Daniel, Toyne, Indigo, Chips Monster, Marco, and Dara all DNFing at various points in the race. In the end, Dara didn't even make up a position from further down the field. But Jensen takes the win, Tom in 2nd, Macho in 3rd. We can get, of course, our guys into the party. They can join at that free will. We've already got somebody in. And my Discord is froze, so I can't see who it actually is. It is... Oh, it's Charlie. I thought it was Jensen. It's okay.
But, I mean, it's unbelievable how Jensen just does it again. I think that's his 5th win then of the season, or his 5th P1.
Yep, it is his 5th win. 5th win, including sprint races.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's just unbelievable. And he's now gapping Macho with, I think, 10 points, so...
Yeah, another 10 points gained, which I think it was... Hang on, I'm going to quickly get my studio mode up. Oh, I've got the wrong thing up. That's my OBS settings. Don't want that. Studio mode. Gap between them both coming into tonight were 102 and 76. It was
56, so 36 now.
36 points. Was it 20? Yeah, 26 points coming into tonight. So he had a more than race wins advantage anyways, and he's just got that now to 36 points instead, which is very good stuff indeed. And speaking of the man, we can speak to the man who, of course, finished in P1. It is Mr. Shazoo Jensen, and Jensen, in the end, had to work hard from that safety car restart. Talk us through it, because that must have been absolutely thrilling from your end.
Yeah, just pushed all the way to the end on a little 3-lap stint there. Got the fastest lap as well, so yeah, a good one in the end. I think without the safety car, it would have been close. I think Tom was wearing a little bit less than me. I had about 5% more than him before the safety car, so yeah, it definitely would have been a close one from there. But I think I was really happy with that stint on mediums after the first lot of safety cars. But other than that, literally nothing else happened in the race, so I'm not too fussed.
Yeah, to be honest, I say it every single time, in every single race that you win, it looked a shade dominant, and especially in the first half of the race, right up until that safety car. Talk us through that safety car, though. What was your overall reaction to that safety car coming out? Was it a, oh no, or was it a, oh, I can just get on with this?
Mix of the both. I mean, Tom gets closer to me, but I at least get fresh tyres, and I'm like almost 100% sure that everyone will pit because like the tyres will be so much worn at that point. So I don't see a reason for anyone to stay out other to them to ruin their own race. So yeah, I think like if everyone stayed out, it would have been lowest like 7th or something. So definitely wouldn't have been all over even then. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, still a P1. It's your 5th win of the season as well. That must set you up really good for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think, well, if you include sprint wins, yeah, 5th win, but like 4 wins out of 5 rounds, I'd say is really good. Probably my best start to a league for a while, so yeah, keep going the way it go. I think Tom definitely going to pick up some wins so in the next few races. I mean, it's close today, but like barely had any practice. I mean, that's like I don't know what the next race is, but watch him there, and it'll be close between us.
Yeah, watch and learn potentially from Macho and certainly from Tom's perspective, obviously, who finished there in P2 as well. Yuri, any questions?
Yeah, of course, you are comfortably leading the championship right now. Next week, it's going to be Belgium. Any thoughts about that?
It's a right track. Tom has the edge over there, so I think it's gonna be a little bit of a like trickier one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Try and get top 3 again, or try and keep the top 2s going if I can. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it would be very nice for you. Yeah, that were my questions.
And yeah, nothing else from me as well. So Jensen, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, and thank you for coming as always.
You are very welcome indeed. We can now speak to the man, of course, who finished in P2, and it was Yazoo Tom. And Tom, in the end, first half of that race, you just did not have the pace whatsoever. You got through on Daniel, still 3 seconds of the gap. That safety car was a blessing in disguise.
That's so harsh, James. I'm disappointed. Right, so basically, I'm gonna I joined the party at 6:56. That's when I came online. I'm just gonna put that out there, and then I did 1 lap in quali, which I'm actually happy that I got P4 because obviously it's wet. And then in the race, I was actually pushing Jensen around all the corners. After Watermelon got like the most insane start I've ever seen in my life, and then I was like 2 tenths behind Jensen for that whole first like 5 laps. And the safety car came out, and I was like, you can't heat up the rears, so I was just like putting the throttle down. But then all of a sudden, like it gives you your throttle back, and it just went flat to the floor and spun me round. So I was down to like, I don't know, 8th or 9th. I have no idea. That's a guess. And then I overtook like 3 or 4 cars and got behind Macho again. And then just another safety car came out in the mediums, and then I overtook Macho. It was like a good battle. I hope you got that, but obviously I haven't seen it back. And then, well, we got held up by Rocco, I think it was, and that literally gave Jensen like the 3-second gap that he needed, and my tyre wear was better than Jensen, so obviously I would have got better towards the end of the race, but yeah, another safety car, and then there was no DRS for the rest of the race, so it was just... I say I actually had good pace, and it just got better as the race went on because of the lack of practice.
Yeah, definitely. So it wasn't as good, obviously, as Monaco and that disqualification from P1. But the less we say about that, the better. But still, a
Yeah.
P2 finish for you. And with that final 3-lap battle, obviously, that you had with Jensen right at the front end, you were absolutely flooring it flat through to the throttle. Were you putting your good friend right under the pressure so he can crack?
Well, obviously I was trying to, because he needed to make a mistake, and that was it basically. Because Imola, we were on the same wings. I was not gonna make an overtake, like, unless, I don't know, I turned into Yano at me. But so yeah, I was trying to put the pressure on for the first 2 laps to make him crack, and then on the last corner of lap 31, I hit the yellow curb, and so I just like gave him the gap so he could just sort of relax for the last lap, and it was over from then. But yeah, if there was one more lap and I had DRS, I would have played it differently. But yeah, it wasn't long enough left in the race, sadly.
Yeah, you need to get on to Co-Masters, put a second DRS zone in somewhere out on track, because I think you would certainly have the pace to catch up to Jensen, and it would have been a very interesting fight if we did have that extra lap, of course, here in Imola. But obviously, your second podium of the season as well, your second position after the one in Monaco, of course, got taken away. What are your hopes for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, obviously, I said this every week so far, but Jensen's miles ahead, and I need some sort of miracle, especially with the consistency he's had so far. So yeah, I guess I'll aim to catch Macho, but Macho's also been super consistent. So I'll aim for third, but obviously I'll try my best, and I'm gonna like show up most weeks. So I don't know about in a couple of weeks when a qualifying event for something's happening, but other than that, I should try and push for a few race wins, because I hope to have one by now, but I don't. So
Yeah, I think third is certainly a realistic goal. I mean, we said just before we got into qualifying that third, I think, would be your realistic goal. Certainly on the cards after that performance, of course, here tonight in Imola. Yuri, any questions?
Well, I mean, not really. Besides, of course, the same question for you. Next week, Belgium. Are you confident about the track?
well, not yet, but I'm gonna practice a lot because we have other things. I have many Belgium races coming this weekend, so it all seems to come at once, and so me and Jensen will both be well prepared, and hopefully be a good race. Belgium's a good track, better than Imola.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, from my end, you drove in a very good race, of course, very good comeback race after that moment, and I mean, that were all my questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's all from me as well. Tom, go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you, lads.
Very welcome indeed. We can now speak to the man who finished in P3, and that is Mr. NSX Macho. And Macho, what on earth happened with your pace in that second half?
Good question. I don't know. Yeah.
It was confusing. It was confusing for me in commentary, because I was looking at you and I thought, well, he's in there. He's in with a chance of catching up to Tom and Jensen, obviously in the final part of the race. But then they pulled 1.3 seconds away, and I thought you had an issue, quite literally, in terms of your either setup or whatever. Was that the case, or was it just a pure
No,
lack of
no.
pace?
I think I was just slow. I don't know. I might have took like maybe a wet setup probably or something. I have no clue what happened, to be honest, because there was not really much pace. But hey, I'll take a P3 any day, to be honest.
Yeah, P3 around what I said was one of your weaker tracks as well. So you must be still happy with that. And obviously, losing 10 points to Jensen in the championship, you're now, I think, 36 points behind. What is that overall goal now for the rest of the season? Where are your stronger tracks at compared to Jensen?
Well, I guess you said this was one of my slower tracks, but I think I won here like 2 times on FRL already. Got 2 times pole. I felt quite comfortable around it on the practice I did, but it well, I don't know where the pace went. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, I think, where you come into drivers that are A, better than you, and I think B, have got more class, I think, on the day. That, I think, is what it boils down to at the end. Obviously, you were consistent driving your own right matchup, but in the end, Jensen and Tom, on the first lap on that safety car restart, they escaped 1.3 seconds up the road, I think it was.
Wait, what? Say again? I couldn't hear it because people were like laughing in my ears.
It's fine. It's fine. I was saying, in terms of the safety car restart, you lost that 1.3 seconds, to Jensen and Tom, and I said there, it's the difference really between a good driver and a great driver, really.
Yeah, well, I knew in going into the season it would have been hard going against Jensen. Obviously, PSGO F1, pretty much class of PlayStation, like top class of PlayStation. So, but there's always a chance. Like it's one retirement, and like I'm within 10 points again, and I don't see Jensen retire pretty quickly, but everything can happen. And honestly, today was well, not too good, not too bad either, I guess. So.
Yeah, final question from me as well before you go over, or before I ask Yuri if he's got any questions. That battle with Tom in the midpoint of that race, talk us through that, because that was a full first sector of you two pretty much at each other's throats, side by side, wheel to wheel, class racing.
Oh, sure thing, man. Do it, man. Let's have some fun. And he didn't, but I broke quite late, so he got a better run on me through the first corner, like 3 corners. Then he got side by side with me. We both, kept our car in there. Then I think onto like the little hairpin, like to left up the hill, I went deep again, and then he got the exit again. So I was pretty much compromised again. And I was on the outside, and it was quite amazing that we kept inside the track limits all the time. And then he got me, so yeah, fair play to him on that one.
Honestly, it was a really good battle to watch. We caught that in full as well on the stream, so I'm sure you can go and watch that back in absolute delight in terms of that battle. Yuri, any questions?
Well, I have one question, but before that, I just want someone's POV from that start from Watermelon, because what was your reaction to that?
Well, honestly, I wasn't even looking at him. I thought he might go up to P4 or P3, but yeah, I had an okay start. I was side by side with Daniel. And then when I look to my right, I see like a flying Ferrari coming up my outside, and I was like, what the hell is this? Then I was sandwiched, and I couldn't go anywhere. Went into the gravel in turn 1, and I think it went downhill from there.
Yeah, I mean, still a podium for you, and then of course next week Belgium. Any idea about the track? Are you good? Are you bad?
Nah, well, there's a lot of tracks coming up now which aren't like really my favorites, but well, I guess the whole season isn't really my favorite track, so that's quite sad. But we'll see what we can do. Yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, that were my questions for you, Macho.
Thank you. Thanks for coms. Have a nice evening, and see you next week.
Yeah, you are very welcome indeed, and see you next week as well. We're going to speak to the man who somehow has got himself a P4 out on track, and is Mr. CPI Bunty. And Bunty, that promotion from PSGL F8 to F6 is suiting you quite well. 4th place here in FRL. Did a great job out on track.
Well, yeah. First of all, can you hear me? All right.
We can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I don't know. It was from the start. On my TT, I was fairly close to the top guys, so I thought maybe I'd have a decent chance. But then in the practice sessions, I was miles off. But thankfully, it rained. But Yeah, I'm full of confidence right now. So it was nice to qualify high up, and then I know usually from my qualifying place I usually gain positions, and people had carnage. Marco, Nick had the crash, and then I think Med TC might have gone off at one point. There was just so much kind of over the course of the race. There was so many people who kind of like dropped out the order for a podium. Towards the end, I mean, I didn't really fancy my chances at all. But I thought if Jensen or Tom, by the rarest of chances, or even Macho, got a penalty, then I might have had the chance. But obviously, the drivers are great, so it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, I'm just very happy with P4. I think it's my best result in FRL in goodness knows since F1 season 14, 13, 12. Something ridiculous. So it's nice to be towards the front. I don't think it will stay like this, but I'll enjoy it while it lasts.
Enjoy it while it lasts, definitely indeed. And yeah, I've got to say, your confidence out on track tonight was really, really good to see. You were keeping up the pace, of course, with the likes of MedTC and Keki. And speaking of Keki, you had him absolutely dive you down the inside of the final corner on the final lap of the race. What happened there? Because it caught me by surprise.
Well, I've been told after the race Keke's penalty might get removed, so I'm quite a little bit annoyed about myself for letting him kind of. I rolled out the red carpet for him second to last corner, but I mean, I didn't really want to get into a big scrap with him and get spun out or anything because my name is now it seems to be Spunty, so I just kind of let him through. Especially, I just thought he was kind of trying to pull out a 3-second gap to the cars behind, but. Yeah, fingers crossed he gets that removed. Otherwise, I look like a bit of an idiot, kind of letting him through for P4. But yeah, I've got a few battles, not too many, but yeah, it was good racing all round from my end. Yeah.
Yeah, good racing from you all around, certainly. And obviously, with that confidence going forward, that is going to set you, I'm sure, in good stead for further good results here in FRL. Mr. Yuri, any questions?
Well, of course, last week on Sunday you won in JSR. And did that give you any confidence for this race?
Yeah, I think so. Like last couple of races, I've been in good form. So obviously it's not FRL, and FRL's probably the most competitive or grids I race, and most people racing if that you race in for F1, it's really top quality drivers with Jensen and PSGO F1. But yeah, I mean to win obviously in Jersey, transferring that over to FRL, we kind of took the pressure off because I knew I was obviously able to keep it consistent in the trains. I managed to I think it was stick with Rocco and Macho for a few laps before I eventually dropped off. So yeah, the confidence I'll just kind of stick in the trains, and if I didn't have the results before, I'd probably not have been able to hook up such a good quality or stick in the trains for so long. But yeah, high in confidence right now. So yeah, looking forward to Belgium, which I think is the next race.
Yeah, exactly. Next week, as you said, it is Spa. Well, besides that, you are confident. Are you any good at that track?
Yeah, I mean, I think my raw pace around Belgium's pretty good. So I think I can probably once again fight towards the top of the midfield. I definitely won't be putting my name out for a podium because I mean, it's the quality of drivers is so good. But yeah, if I can be kind of around Med TC, because Med TC seems to be when I'm on a good day, like in China, I was before I spun. Med TC always seems to be around me, so I'll try and be around Med TC and hopefully be towards the front of the midfield. So yeah, good pace around Belgium. Look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, those were my questions. The only thing I can say to you is, well done on your P4. We will, of course, see if Keke can remove that penalty. And for the rest, go on and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, thanks for commentating as always. Yeah.
You are very welcome indeed. And two things as well before Bunty does leave the party is he's got a new name of Goatee, first and foremost, and it's not often that he beats a former F1 Esports Challengers driver as well.
Oh, we take it. We take it. Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
You are very welcome indeed. We are now going to speak and skip a couple of drivers actually to the man who finished in P7. It is Mr. VPR Ivo. And Ivo, in the end, P7 for you out on track. It could be a P8, of course, out on track with Keki if he gets that 3-second penalty removed. You, in the end, good point score finish once again. Talk us through your race.
Yeah, the race, not the best quality. I made a big mistake. So starting P11. Then I had a good start, going to P9 in turn 1. And then in, I think it's turn 5, I made the double overtake around the outside. And then I was P7. And then I was just driving, and then the safety car came. I just stayed out and stayed behind. I think it was Marco and Macho. And then the second safety car came, we pitted. Me and Waterman, we thought maybe we could get both top 5 or top 6 because we were on hard and we wouldn't think that the mediums would make it till the end. So yeah, and then it was the third safety car, I think it was. We all pit for softs and just drive it to the finish line and get P7, P6 for now.
Yeah, I think it was a really good performance from you, from your perspective as well, and from Watermelon's perspective as well, because you seemed like you were on the pace compared to your teammate as well, and I think that set you in good stead for what we saw towards the end of the race, where you were really consistently fighting with Watermelon, with MedTC as well, and you're ending up in P7 must be very, very good, especially around a track like this at Imola.
Yeah, it's a very good performance for me because I didn't thought I was gonna be top 7. Maybe I thought maybe P10 or something, but yeah, it's really nice, especially after starting P11.
Yeah, definitely so. And obviously, from P11 to P7, as you say, very good result out on track. Yuri, any questions?
Well, of course, looking at the races before this race, you are scoring, besides China, some very consistent points. Do you think you can get some points in Belgium?
Yeah, it's not my best track, and yeah, I think will be chaotic around there. But if I get a good quality, but I improved on the track. First, I was really bad at it, but now I'm keeping to get better there. But yeah, if it's gonna be a race like this, then I think I can get points again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congrats on P7 and good luck for next week. And go on and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
You are very welcome indeed. And I'm looking at the chat and I'm like, do I want to talk to him given how bad he did in that race? But I guess we have to. And it's Mr. FRL, Charlie. And Charlie, in the end, your AI did most of the hard work, getting you, I think, into P12 in the end. But talk us through lap 1 because it must have been an absolute disaster.
Charlie DM'd me saying
He doesn't want to talk.
he's taking a poop. So
Oh, okay. Oh God, we don't want to speak to him on the toilet because goodness knows what sounds we're gonna see, gonna hear,
yeah,
not
I mean,
see. Oh my God.
yeah. And I also seeing, I don't know if you can show the stream, but Watermelon in the F1 channel has sent his. I don't think you can, but he has sent his start. So
Hang on. I can try if I can how to figure this out. Hang on. Give me a second. Oh no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, people are just seeing me add random things. I think on. I think that's the wrong thing that I've tried to do that. Right, hang on. I'll get window capture up. Just put in a window capture. Right, can people see what is on? I think you can. I think you can
I am.
see what's on my screen.
Let me have a look.
Might be a little bit of a delay. Yeah.
The
inner working. The inner workings. I'm in the general chat at the minute. It's another wonder I can't see what he's on about.
Yeah, I see the Discord.
Are we all okay? Can we still see it? It might lag potentially, but I'll give it a go. I'm gonna give this a go. Hang on. Oh, it's opening up in a different window. Oops. Oh no. Right. There. Is people able to see that now? I think they are. I think this is the first time I've done this. So I don't know. There's going to be 2 videos playing at the same time as well. And it's taking very long to load. But it will get there. I am sure. I just hope the sound on this video as well. It's taken a long time. My god. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, hang on, it's lagging a bit. Hang on. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put it full screen so you don't see what my watch history is on the right hand side. And I will play it again. Here we are.
Oh, that's very good.
Be careful in the first corner. You have small tires. Don't brake too late. Don't take the position. Stay behind.
Naar de leiding!
Be careful.
That is unbelievable. I hope people saw that, by the way, on the stream, and hopefully it didn't lag as much. Yeah, it is coming up with a video, so I'm now gonna quickly just. I don't want to watch Sky News. Goodness me! Right, there we go. That was. I hope everyone saw that. Oh god. I hope it didn't lag as much. Apologies if you did hear duplicate sound as a result of that as well. It's the first time I've certainly tried it, but that was Watermelon's start, and that was probably one of the maddest things I think I've ever seen, Yuri.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it now on my own, and I don't know how. I mean, last week he did literally the same from P3, and now he does it from P5. So he is probably the best starter in FRL F1, maybe the best one we have ever seen in FRL history.
Oh, it lagged. I'm looking through the stream and it lagged. Apologies, yeah. It seems like whatever video I play whenever I'm doing a stream, it seems just to cut off completely, and it might be encoding settings potentially on OBS, so I'll have to figure that out. And I'll try and show you. If not, it's in the F1 channel. If you haven't got access to the F1 channel, I am sure that race start is going to be put up by me on the FRL channel as soon as this race is done. It'll be all over my social media as well. But, of course, we are now ending off tonight's live stream. And obviously, Yuri, we've got Belgium coming up next week. Now, PSGL is also doing Belgium next week as well. So drivers are going to be very prepared for next week. How do you think the drivers are going to get on around Belgium next week?
Well, I mean, Belgium, it's a it's a very long track, of course. A lot of overtaking zones, especially bus stop chicane after Camel Straight, and of course down into turn 1. And it's a very technical circuit, and also in the qualification, it's very easy to get an invalid on such a long track. So I'm really looking forward to it. And also, as you said, PSGL is in that week, so it's good that we have a lot of drivers prepared for the race, because then it's just going to be a better race.
It will be a better race, definitely. And yeah, for sure, I think Belgium is going to be very interesting. Hopefully, I'm just going to call Jensen now back out on stream, because he spun the first ever race that we covered on, or I covered on this game, was a social race for WR. Ended up spinning in qualifying right at the start of the game. Hopefully, he might not do that next week in FRL. And hopefully, of course, Belgium is going to be very, very good to see. Of course, we've got Netherlands and Singapore after that, along with our second sprint race, of course, in Monza, so the other Italian track in around 4 rounds' time. Austin, Texas, which is now the PSGL season finale, is round 10 here in FRL. Mexico, round 11, and then we go to Abu Dhabi, our traditional haunt, to end off the season, of course, around the brand new track, of course, in Abu Dhabi for round 12 of the championship and the final round of the season of season 16 of FRL. But while you're at it, and while you've got your phone in your hands, which I'm pretty sure a majority of you do have, you can follow us, of course, on social media. It is TikTok, of course, Fantarry Racing League, Instagram, Fantarry Racing League, and Twitter, Fantarry Racing as well. And you can also, while you're at it, follow me on Twitter at ttg_head. And Yuri, I believe you're on Twitter as at CPI_Yuri.
It is.
Thank goodness I got that right. Goodness me, that would have been a bit awkward if I got that wrong. But yeah, you are, of course, joined CPI recently. Hopefully things will go well there, and I'm sure it's going to be very good to see your performances, of course, out on track, as well as in the commentary booth here, alongside me, of course, going into the rest of the season here in FRL F1. But we are going to end off tonight's live stream right here. I really hope you enjoyed that stream. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you're brand new for the channel. And of course, we're going to be seeing you next week in Belgium. Once again, I was going to say in Bahrain, but we're not in Bahrain again. We're in Belgium again. So for myself and from Yuri and from everyone else here in the commentary booth, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.